I know the sound. I need to get one of them little clip mics for when I do my you know, I don't even know what we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it the Adra University videos or the Adra Philosophy videos. Usually, obviously, I do them on my iPhone real quick by myself, but you know, we're trying to up the levels. And right now, I got Quace with me, so today you're gonna get it from the beauty of the proper production. But anyway, I'm gonna sit down real quick to make it feel normal, make it all feel regular. Cause I literally just did a video about it for the TikTok, so it's fresh in my mind, and I'm gonna talk about it here real quick as well. But I need you, oh not even I need you guys, but what I'm gonna talk about today is about embracing your dark side, and what do you want to call it? Yeah, embracing your dark side and integrating your shadow self. See, we have a light self that everybody wants to, you know, parade to the world, and we have our shadow self. Our shadow self is the side of us that we try to repress, the quote unquote not so pleasant parts, the quote unquote parts that make us feel uncomfortable when anybody brings them up or when we have to face them in ourselves. You see, I was born, I shouldn't say it, but I would say I'm very aggressive. I'm a very aggressive person. I'm argumentative. I challenge things. I'm very confrontational. I have a very strong sense of identity, and I would go as far as saying I was born that way, because ever since I can remember, I've been getting treated like a war criminal in my house by my mum. Love you, mum. And then, you know, not long after that, school, because I was, you know, like I said, very, like it's like I came out the womb that way. I came out the womb that way, you know, challenging everything that was being said to me, aggressive, just confrontational. I guess my mom just thought I was a, you know, a rotten baby. And on top of that, you know, I'm African, so you know, we have a certain lifestyle, we have certain, you know, set of morals and codes that we go by. And, you know, right away, I think she just, you know, she knew I was a black sheep, and yeah, she had a problem on her hands. As soon as I got to, you know, school, primary school, and I grew up in Germany, for those of you that didn't know, right away, problem. You know, I feel like everybody else was in line, me not. Like, from ever since I can remember, I had my own identity, I had my own thing, that stuff that I liked, that I didn't like, etc. And I have like a very like core memory that's like etched in my memory, where one time my teachers made me sit at the front of the class, like how you do in court, and every student basically had to like say something that was like negative about me. Yeah, that shit's kind of crazy. Like I feel like if that happened in today's day and age, like the teacher probably would be in trouble. But you know, so you guys can kind of imagine my reality growing up. You know, my mom is saying it, all the teachers are saying it. You know, he's a problematic child. He's troubled. He's this. He's that. You know, getting phone calls back home, meetings with the parents, and all of that sort of stuff. And you know, especially nowadays, let alone when I was like, I mean, it was one way when I was growing up, but like especially now, like you know, especially moms, and it all comes from a good place, but you know, they try to coddle their children, and you know, we try to make everybody like such a positive and just nice and kind and sweet child, and any signs of like aggression, you know, they treat you almost like you're possessed, and they try to they kind of like cure you of it and try to get it out of you. Um, and you know, any type of signs that they show of that, like I see it, you see all the time, like parents just, the mom specifically, they just panic, and it's like they take them like, nowadays they take them to a doctor, they take them to whoever, and in an attempt to fix them, you know. And for me, that was very much on the cards. Like I used to very much, my mom used to hit me with a typical threat of, we're gonna send you back to Ghana to go live with your auntie, and you're gonna, you know, you're gonna get disciplined. And I'm very, very fortunate, and I thank God that my mom never went through with her threats, and that I got to, you know, live my whole childhood in Germany and then in the UK, because I know a lot of people that happened to, and we know what that's, they once they go and they come back, it's not, the person that comes back is not the same person that they were, because as many of you guys know, in Africa, there's no such thing as expressing yourself. You fall in line. Like you fall in line. The school system, the system of how things are at home and stuff over there is very, very different. So for all of you guys that like got to grow up here, be thankful. You get into, be all this creative stuff. No, go listen, talk to your cousins and stuff back home, and they'll give you a reality check on how that stuff is, or go see it for yourself if you got a chance. Guys that got subjected to that, they don't come back the same. They come all, they've lost all bass in their voice. Everything is like, please, because that's how people live out there. And I dodged the indictment. I dodged the case. We thank God. And once you have that, and you kind of have people kind of speak about you like this and deal with you like this, and they deal with you like you're just like you're basically the devil. What happens is that you start to get to a point where you don't accept yourself because those around you don't accept you. How can I accept myself when my own family does not accept me? When school, which is where I spend most of my time outside of my family, don't accept me. Like, they're all saying it. So, like, what's going on? This creates negative emotions about yourself, but still you're in denial of yourself because that's just what you do. That's what most people, as I said, how I started the video. Most people are in denial about themselves. So if you tell them about themselves, you see this, they lock up, they get offended. There's nothing that it can be true as day. Like, it can be as true as day, but they're like, no. They pretend they don't. I don't know whether it's a pretense. Like, our ego has a way of like trying to protect ourselves that makes us just basically retarded, you know. And like I said, when I was young and like not yet awake, I'd be in denial. Like, no, I'm not that. I'm not that. I'm not that at all. Like, no, they don't know what they're talking about, and wherever it was. And what happens is when you repress stuff about yourself and you try to push it down, or you try to act like that's not the case, you act out on it unconsciously. And when you act out on it unconsciously, you have no control of it. So most of the time, it's going to hurt you, and it's going to hurt others, and it's going to make you hurt the world, you know? And that's really what you see a lot of in the world right now. So when, my stubbornness, again, what I'd say one of my traits of my shadow is how stubborn I am. And I would say that my stubbornness, mixed with my strong sense of identity, made me like a real like rebel and like an outcast, and it made me not like subscribe to kind of like societal norms. Like, most pressures that people feel, like when it comes to like school and wanting to impress in school and this and that, I didn't really have those. It was almost like one of my settings was turned off. I kind of could see through a lot of the stuff in school and things like that. And what happened was is that kind of got me in predicaments that again are unfavorable. Didn't really try as hard as I should have in school or sixth form. I got away with it because I'm very intelligent, but that only lasts so long. So sixth form, most people probably say I quote unquote didn't live up to my potential, but really it was my stubbornness mixed with my strong sense of identity, knowing that where this is leading me to, I didn't want to go there, but family pressures, you got to go to uni, wherever it was. So as start to become a bit older and you start to become a bit more independent, and you start to kind of reap what you've sown, and you're kind of living in the reality that is a direct consequence of the actions that you've taken, which are again a result of your habits, and your habits are the result of your beliefs, which are formed by your thoughts that are deeply rooted in your conscious and your unconscious. So it got to a point where I discovered the path. I'd made life almost so uncomfortable and so difficult to myself because I was not aware of my shadow, and nobody, my family and stuff, they don't know about none of this stuff, so they wasn't aware of my shadow, so they didn't really know how to direct me to where I needed to be. So I was now kind of, living in the kind of puddle of the consequence of a lot of the stuff that I had done, and it led me down the path. It led me to the path, like the path that is kind of the thing that is the kind of the path to enlightenment, the path to transcendence. And in that, you start to learn the truth, the one truth. And once I started to understand the laws and what the codes and what's going on, I came to a point where I started integrating my shadow. I started to accept myself and love myself in every part. And not just the little fake positive parts that everyone wants to parade to the world, but also the parts that, are quote unquote negative. Yes, I am aggressive. Yes, I am confrontational. And yes, I am, anti-authority. Yes, I don't think I need to abide by all the rules. Yes, that is the truth. But guess what? Those same traits are the traits that helped me survive. Those are the same traits that took me to the places where I wanted to go. I grew up in a different, slightly different type of time, and I know that a lot of now, Africans were really getting our shine, and Burna Boy and Davido and Amapiano and all these great things. But you see, when I was a young boy, when it really mattered the most, like in your like young teenage years, like when you're very impressionable and everything is very social and everything like that, it weren't the same. We weren't getting the love that we're getting now. So you mix that with somebody who's already an outsider and sees them and has a very strong sense of identity and is very ambitious and wants more for themselves. What do you think that creates? That created a level of just like offense and disgust in people that you guys can't even imagine. Like it was like people were so offended that I had the audacity to want this shit for myself. The shit I have now, like it wasn't always like that. I had to dream and see it and believe it first, and then go after it with fucking vengeance and just like relentlessness to make this reality. So imagine the young me, where it was just thoughts and it was just a vision. People were like, "How dare you? How dare you have the audacity to move like this? How dare you have you think you're this? Nah." And they were trying to drag me down. They used to say so much things to me, about me, behind my back, all this stuff. The people that my mom used to compare me to, that your cousin that is so well behaved and he never steps out of line and he never raises his voice to his mom. Do you think that they would have survived that? Hell no. All the people that were behaving exactly as their mom wanted them to, all my cousins, all my people in church that were like, the examples that my mom used to bring up, they are robots. They are robots. They don't have a sense of identity. They're not living the life that they want to live, and they're definitely not doing anything interesting or worth talking about because they just fall in line. They're just agreeable. You know what I mean? So those people, had they been subjected to the stuff that I was subjected to for no reason other than being ambitious, they would have folded. They would have curled up in a ball and they would have cried. Not me though. Why? Because of my aggression, because of my shadow. My shadow is what allowed me to survive all of that and overcome it. All them people that were talking shit about me, where are they now? They see me and they either, you're doing so well, they're in my DM or they're doing all that, and they think I forgot, but I never forget. That if I was weak, you lot would have broke me. You would have that's what's so crazy. What protected me and carried me through was my shadow. And the world wants to make really all these things are negative. Nah, I don't give a fuck. That's the real of this shit. That's the real, Once I accepted those parts of myself, the same way that I accept and take pride in the parts of myself, like I'm empathetic and all the good parts that people want to talk about. Once I accepted those parts, it meant that I could be conscious of them, and it meant that I could get more control of them and channel how I use them, rather than use me and channel me. And that's what integrating your shadow is truly about. If I know and I love myself and I accept myself for the good parts and the bad parts, how are you going to tell me about myself? How are you going to tell me about the bad parts of myself? You think it's going to move me? You're going to tell me about me. I already did that. That part you're talking about, I already clocked it. It's a part of me, yeah. What are we doing? And it's like, I've been through a lot of shit, and a lot of people have done me a lot of wrong, and even just not outside of that, forget about me for a minute, but even just a lot of the injustices in the world, and a lot of the things that make life what it is. A lot of things in life are unfair, and I have a lot of anger in me. But I have a lot of burning, I have a lot of in me. But guess what? I use that as fuel, and I've always used it as fuel. I didn't get here to where I am from off positive feelings. I didn't get here off of no kumbaya. I got through here through a lot of burning desire, burning passion to move from where I was at to where I'm at now, and to keep going. And that's another thing as well, is like this whole hippie fake positive revolution that's going on, where everything is about positive feelings and holding hands and all of this type of stuff. I need to break it down to you guys. There is no regulation on where your source of fuel should come from. It does not matter. All that matters is your end results. So if your fuel comes from quote unquote negative emotion, it doesn't matter. Use them. Use what you've got. If you're insecure, or if you feel like whatever it is that people have subjected the way people have treated you, use that. Use that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would not change no part of me, because again, if you ask me right now, if I took to take my flaws away, or if I take away my negatives right away, then probably I wouldn't be sat here right now talking to you guys right now. Without that, that's what life is. There's a duality of life. If you lose those parts, you might also, like, do you not realize how many parts, like where you at right now, how many times that quote unquote negative thing, it's like a double-edged sword. The amount of times it's helped you, you can't have one without the other. Like, stop being so afraid of yourself. We are humans. To be human is to be flawed. It's about accepting those flaws about ourselves, working on them to the degree that of which you can, and there's just certain things, characteristics that you're just hardwired with. Pretending they don't exist does not make them go away. I'm an animal. There's something in me that is different. Me and my brother Randy, like, we're completely different. We're completely different. He's like a real relaxed guy. He's very easy, and he's always been like that. We've been like that since we were little kids. I am who I am. It was already written. I can't run away from this. I can't run away from being aggressive. I've always been aggressive. It's been aggressive, like super deep aggressive. And again, it was only through integrating my shadow recently that it's like I started going to the gym. I only really been going to the gym for like not even 2 years yet. But look at my results. People can't believe my results when I go. Why? Probably because part of my aggression is just too much. It means that probably I can be so intense and train every single day because I probably have like a higher amount of aggression and testosterone in me than probably your average person. So what do? I channel it so that it can help me and help me channel it, and also then improve like how I show up in the world and how I deal with things. So the unevolved version of me, for example, would have been repressing the fact that I'm very aggressive and all of that type of stuff. And then anytime a situation arose in which it triggered my aggression, I'll blow up and I'll blow up over, which is not the way. Evolved version of me understands that I'm aggressive more than the normal person. So I'll go and do things where I can use my aggression for good to build myself up. And guess what now? Because I now go to the gym, I have more emotional control. It's a win-win. But if I never accepted that, then where would I be? Sitting in denial like you guys. Stop being afraid. Stop being afraid and stop doing this like fake positive thing. It's like a lot of the stuff that I talk about and a lot of the part and a big pillar when it comes to the Agile philosophy is that none of this stuff here is to be like fake positive. I don't want you guys to look at me and think that me doing these videos, that's why I was even very reluctant to even start with this stuff, is because people see you do this stuff and they start to think that it means that you're a saint. I'm not a saint, and I want to make that very, very clear. I'm not a saint, I'm not a role model, I'm not any of those things. What I'm trying to show you guys is I'm trying to be real. I'm trying to be authentic with you guys, both good and bad. I accept it. I accept the good and bad that comes with this shit. I accept the good and bad that comes with life. I can accept the good and bad in me. So if you rock with me, you accept the good and bad that comes with me. Do not make me some false idol. I'm not. I am the anti-hero. I am not trying to be these fake guys that is like a politician, like kissing babies and always perfectly groomed. That's not me. That's not what I'm here to do. And that fake positive thing, that's why I feel like even a lot of religion, it's not constructive. You meet a Christian person a lot of the time, and I'm Christian, by the way. You know, they hold up the Christian as a badge of honor. But if you actually look at the actual life, they're one of the most awful people that you know. Why? Because it's all virtue signaling. It's all just to show that I'm morally correct. Like, but how are you living though? How are you living? Like some of the worst people I done met in church. So, like, you know, that's what it is, man. Integrate your shadow. Like, research shadow work, research Carl Jung. Like, you know what I mean? We are all flawed. It's about how we shape those and channel those flaws and how we use them. Like, I'm very confrontational, which is probably why it's so easy for me to pick the camera up and just speak. You know what I mean? That's why I can do things that to most people is probably quite daring or daunting. It's not for me, because I've been like this.